you talked about seams being open. I had a buzz in my violin years ago, and this is when I first met Chunyee. I had been to another violin shop in town, and they told me all the seams were perfect. Everything was glued up, no problems. So I took it and I still had a buzz. So I went back and I said, no, I still have a buzz. And they said, no, everything's fine, go away. So I came to Chunyee and he went, and he said, oh, you have purfling that's loose. So the little inlay, I had purfling that was loose, he said, in 5 different places. And in 10 minutes, he had it all fixed. And I had had a buzz in my violin for a year, and he found it right away and fixed it right away. So, and it completely changed the sound of my instrument. Not only was the buzz gone, but the upper register had been sounding more thin. And this restored the tone to the upper part of the strings. So yeah, it's very important to keep an eye on all that stuff.
Yes, that's right. That's right. Sometimes you cannot see the purfling is open, but your ear is very accurate. You can, lots of musician artists by feeling. Feeling is much more than the measurement. Because if it's just measurement, 1 millimeter, tenth of 1 millimeter, you cannot really see. But for the musician ear, you can see big. You can tell by yourself, the instrument itself, different tone. Today is very, tomorrow different. So you must know your instrument very well. So after that, you will notice the change, the instrument change. So there must be something wrong with that.
So I have a question. Usually if I do a pizzicato on the G string,
yes,
between the bridge and the tailpiece, usually this is a D.
Oh yeah.
And now it's almost an E. So this distance is too small, right?
Yeah. Guess the tail gets too long, maybe. Yeah, they change.
So this stretches.
Stretch.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that affects the tone too, doesn't it?
Yeah. Sometimes, you have wolf notes on a violin, especially on a G string. So, because you can change this tailgut, gets different result. You can limit the wolf notes by changing the tailgut, short or longer. So yeah, that means it's important. So really, yeah.
So I know I'm asking a lot of questions and not maybe giving anyone else a chance, but sorry. Yeah. I mentioned a few minutes ago that I had to change my tailpiece from rosewood to ebony to get around the travel restrictions with the wood, but that changed the tone of my violin.
Yes.
So are there ways to know how to predict? I mean, if you want to improve or to change the sound of your instrument, to go to a lighter or a heavier or different?
Yes, that's exactly what I do. Is I just use a weight, like a weight. See if the same. If you want the almost same result, change it to without changing the tone. You can weight the tailpiece, original one, change it to the other one, also weighted. If it's too heavy, definitely we'll change the sound. Find the one very similar weight, then it will be almost same.
So what if you want to change some aspect of how the violin sounds?
Yes, definitely you can change the tailpiece. So for example, the violin sounds like a muffle, also not so bright, so like a woody sound, like a voice, man's voice. You can change a little heavier tailpiece, dense ebony. It makes tone brighter tone, also clear sound. So that, yeah, sometimes you can experience by yourself too. So, of course, different wood, even the same weight, changes also the tone too. Yeah, right now they make Pernambuco wood tailpiece. The bow made by Chunyee. So they use those wood to make tailpiece too right now. Sounds good, but sometimes it's not really good for the instrument. The others, because you have to try it on your own instrument. Because if somebody says good, not really necessarily for you good, because your instrument different with the.
There's a violin maker in this area that uses metal tailpieces.
Okay.
What do you think of that?
Metal, lots of cello, they use those metals. Also, violin has those metals too, because like Whitner is metal with a four tuners together. It's metal. So yeah, they already has like in 1950s, they made a lot of wood, metal one too.
But they don't sound so good, do they?
They are not really good sounding. I don't really like it. Sometimes for other like student instrument, okay. Because if you have a Galliano, no, I don't recommend using it. So.
Okay, my last question, and then please think of questions you want to ask. I have for years I had a chin rest that was over the block.
Yes.
Clamped over the block, and I changed now to one, not because it's it's on the side, because I like the way this one works. It's very flexible. You can adjust it in all different directions. Tell us why you have to be so careful clamping a chin rest on the side.
Okay, the side chin rest, because you clamp on the side, it's not in the middle of the. Actually, the violin has a block in the middle of this, so it's solid. You can clamp this pretty tight, no problem. If you clamp sideways, because that's no block, only rib. The rib is only 1 millimeter thicker. So it's kind of weak. So if we clamp very tight, by the time all the humidity gets in there, the wood gets soft and like the bridge warped. So sometimes when you see the warped side rib, then it's difficult to get straight. Like a bridge, you can straighten it, but the rib warped, then you have to take the top off and do some straightening. But this is getting worse if you clamp it tighter, because you cannot cleanse very tight because the rib keeping warp, then less tighter the chin rest clamp. So you have to continue tighter. Eventually the rib gets damaged. So that's, you have to be very careful.
No, so there's nothing inside to hold
That's
it.
inside the boat, just 1 millimeter rib.
Okay. So does anyone have questions about things that we have covered or haven't covered?
I have a question on string height. So I find my string a little bit height. It's almost like the G string almost like 6 millimeters. What do you usually do if the string are too high? Do you lower the bridge, or the fingerboard angle maybe lift up a little bit? Yeah,
that's also you say the G string so high, very high?
The G string side a little bit high. Yeah.
Oh, okay. You have to check also this, be careful. Not only the bridge, lower the bridge. Because if you just lower the bridge, sometimes the fingerboard angle is already low. So you continue lower the bridge, then you will catch the C bar. When you play E string, you will catch the C bar because their angle. So you have to be certain amount the wood that has to be not to continue lower the bridge, but you have to check the angle of the fingerboard, the neck itself.
How do you know how to do that? I mean, what would you look for?
You can measure from the fingerboard end to the body of the top, probably 18 millimeter or 19. The right way is uses like a ruler to extend to the bridge. The angle this projects the line to the bridge. Then measure from the body, the middle of the body, to the top, the projects point. it's like a 27 millimeter. It's an accurate angle. So you understand what yeah.
And is that true for some instruments are flat on top and some are more curved? Is that true for all of instruments?
Yeah, but they have a proportion. Like if it's really high arch, they made the neck foot taller. So still keep the same
Proportions.
Yeah, angles. Almost every instrument same angle. Actually, you can. This is probably I forgot the number for this. The angle is this is probably 125 degree, I think, from this curve. So I'm not sure. I haven't checked my. I mean, this is not the really important numbers, but yeah, this angle is very important for the fingerboard, for the neck.
So if a fingerboard, if the neck is slipping or lowering, do you need to reset the neck or can you put a wedge?
Yeah. If it's too low, then you have to reset the neck. If it's a little bit low, you can just they can just put a wedge.
Like a shim, right?
Shim, yeah. But usually I don't do a good instrument because they will extend the length of the fingerboard slightly. If we bend this one, the string length getting longer.
Oh.
Slightly longer, maybe 1 millimeter longer. So yeah, best way is to reset the neck.